Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of the Letter Diaries workshop. So where we left off from the previous video is we had finished the first flap of this flap section that we did. Now we're going to continue from here, and you can see the next step is to create this little bag flap here, and then we also have the envelope. I am going to skip to this envelope, and you will receive one of these in your kit, but if you're following along and you want to jump right in, you could just simply grab, something from your mail would work, anything with a window would work. You could even just do a plain envelope. Okay, in the kits that are going to be sent out, I am sending a couple stencils. There's a lace stencil, and then I cut up a larger stencil because I wasn't able to get enough, and really you only needed a section of the stencil. So you're going to receive this stencil that's cut up, but it will have the main flowers on here, and that's what I am using as well. The colors I'm using are Aged Mahogany, Tattered Rose, and Worn Lipstick. Use what you have. Or if you don't want to attempt coloring, again, you could use pieces of ephemera, trim. There's all sorts of things that you could do to dress up your envelope. And I could even add in like a golden yellow one. So I have some vintage photo, and there we go, fossilized amber. Okay, and on the back side of the envelope, I'm just going to do the same thing. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is, because I want to try to match this pink up a little more, I am going to add in just a little bit of the blue. So I'm just going to apply just a hint of the blue in the pink. I'm going to take and add in just a little bit of the pink right up in here. Okay, so I have my lady, and she is going to go right here. I'm using a stamp from the French Adds 2 stamp collection, but again, you'll receive a stamp set. It's got some labels that are similar, but they're not exact to this, and I didn't have any extras that I could pull, so I am just going to use the closest thing that I have to what you're going to be getting in your kit. I had these sets that I was selling at my shop, and I absolutely love this one. It's got black, sepia, coffee, and plum, and I use this so much. It's just perfect. It's got the perfect assortment in there. I love it. And again, the main thing when you're stamping is just to make sure you have a lot of ink on your stamp. I actually press the ink into the stamp. This is the first time I've used this stamp. I should have probably primed it first before stamping with it, but I'm going to hope we get a pretty good impression. I used the emblems stamp. I had to try this. Like, I had to play with the stamp set from Iron Orchid. This just released. Love it. So I am going to, let's see, which one did I use? It was this one. Beautiful. That's the one thing I absolutely love about Iron Orchid stamps. I think the detail that comes through on their stamps is just beautiful. I have the best time using their stamps. I mean, they just really get nice impressions with their stamps. I love them. All right, let's do another one on the bottom. And there we have it. We are going to place her, I think, right about there. We don't want to cut off too much of her head. I might have put her up too high. Okay, so I have those flowers and I showed how I cut these out, and I think I'm going to use those. And I'm going to set them just kind of right in the middle there between those stenciled flowers right there. Maybe like so. And then I do have this piece, and this looks like kind of what I stamped. It's kind of matching. And I was thinking I could put that right up in that corner there. And I'm going to draw a line kind of where I need to cut this off. I'll just try and get it as straight as possible. Alright, and this is going to go right there. Kind of right below that line there. And I can always cut it down more if I need to. That is perfect. So there is our envelope. I think it looks great. I heard that Taylor made journals. I thought that she went out on her own, so I'll have to double check on that because I do like her label stamps. Righty, going to place that like so. You know, you could do a little collage on the back. Alright, so now that this is all distressed, I am going to place this down, but let's attach these two together first. So I'm going to use just a little bit of glue to attach this. So I'll just spread that glue around. And then I'm going to apply some glue just to this top section and right along here, because it's just going to go sit on the top part of our flap there. We want to be able to open our flap, so don't glue your flap down. And there we go. There is our envelope. We have our envelope all done. And I think it looks great. I really like the way it turned out. The next thing that we will need to do before we attach our envelope is I want to work on this section here where we have our pockets. And so we'll be working with this next flap here. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take another strip of this and apply this across. Let's do 2 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to attach that there. Now, I realized when I was watching back the first part, I had us make a pocket with this, and then I closed everything down. So I'm going to try this again, and if you're going to make that when you go to glue your journal cards and things down, do not close your pocket like I did. We'll try this again. Make sure you do not go on your scored line. You go below it. And then we just kind of want to pull this, stretch it. we are going to cut her out. That is what I'm going to do. And I want to start on this line right here. Okay, so now we can use her, but we're going to use this right here, and then we will cover it with this, but I want to make a pocket. Okay, I have a leftover piece of my pink cardstock, and I am going to lay this on my scrap piece. The main thing is I just want to make sure this is covered here. Alright, and now I just need to apply some glue right along here to create a pocket. We just want to make sure we cover up those areas where we, cut this pink journal card inside of the pocket, like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some glue here and along here. Again, do not go on that fold, and we'll apply some glue right on this edge here. So we'll just lay that down like so. I am going to place this right there. It's kind of lined up with the R. And we are going to only want to put glue right here. Going to place some on the bottom here. And just up a little ways. Again, we do not want to close our pocket like I did last time. And we are going to line that up with the R right there. So this is washi that I had put in a past kit, so maybe some of you have this washi tape. Pick whatever washi you might have on hand, and I am going to glue that washi down. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place half of my washi on the envelope. And then I can apply a little strip of glue right there. Now I can take and bend this back just a little bit, and I want to place it right there. Okay, so I have that nicely glued down, and now we have our hinge like so. And I'm just going to kind of push that down to make sure all of that is nice and flush. We got a nice hinge, everything's glued, and there we go. What I am thinking for the CD sleeve is kind of what I did with the envelope, and I am going to pull out these emblem stamps from Iron Orchid. Again, this is one of their latest releases. I am just loving this stamp set. There's so many fun labels and things to pick from this set. I'm thinking this stamp right here, we can even see kind of how that would look. I'm thinking of using just this section here to have it kind of go around the circle there. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. Pretty, pretty, pretty. She'll go in the inside. And I do have to cut her down just a little bit. So where do we want to take from? Let's go up here a little bit. And I'm going to just shape around her arm a little bit here. I think I just need to shorten it a little bit. And that works. I have this leftover piece here. This is from the digital. And I'm thinking these flowers would look very nice right up in there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just kind of cut around here. Yep. There. I want to try not to get glue on the film. Okay. Now we can place this right up there. And I really don't want to get glue on our window there, so I'm really spreading the glue thin. But I want to make sure I do get all my edges glued down really good. Alright, I think I'm going to put that right there. And there we have our little CD sleeve. So just adding a little, stamp work and a few little labels just to decorate it up a little bit rather than having this stark white CD sleeve. Let's see, am I white enough? Yep. So we will lay this down on this edge, again keeping it above our fold line just slightly, and then I can just rub off that extra tape adhesive. And I just used this to kind of decorate that up a little bit. I'm going to just distress. So let's see what we can find here. I think I might just do this. Let's see how this would look if I, just apply that there, and then we have this going there. And we are going to go right along here. And now I'm going to stamp the other side, and we'll try to match it up just to kind of widen it a little bit. Yes. All right. Now this can go right there. And again, it just gives that little added detail to our flap. Now this I want to place so it does get tucked down in here a little bit. I will apply glue only to this top section here. And I'm going to stick that down in there first, like so. I think I'll place it right, just kind of center it, place it right there. And so we have that part all done. We are on this section right here. Now in your kit, when you receive it, you will get this vellum. All right, so what I'm going to do is we are going to cut this piece down. We're going to take and bring it to the edge here. So right on that edge. I'm going to lift it up just a little bit. And I need to take off about 1/8 of an inch. Just from that edge there. I'm going to line this up, and I can just rub off that extra adhesive that I have down here. Alright, I am going to cut off a piece of this vellum here. I am going to take off, let's see, about 1 inch. So I printed out this design from the digital collection, and we are going to use just this section right here. Right kind of on this line right here. So I'm cutting this at 4 1/4, about 4 1/4 inches. And I'm going to use from this Mode de la Paris Creative Expressions. Again, I don't think these are available any longer. I might still have a few left in stock. I don't know. Again, I'll have to check, and if I do, I'll leave the link below. Okay, so I am going to use my Nouveau Hybrid Black ink when stamping this, and I did prime the stamp because I hadn't used it before. And there's a few things that you can do to set the ink. You could heat set it, or you could use hairspray, but boy, you have to be really careful with the hairspray because it will curl the vellum. So I just am going to let it sit, and it will eventually just, you know, the ink will set on there after a little bit of time. So I'm just going to be pretty careful. And again, you might want to use your stamp press, because if this doesn't get a good impression, then I'll have to either cover it up or redo it. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I want to just kind of let this sit because I don't want to smudge my ink, but I will go ahead and apply my piece that I cut out from the design. I'm just going to try to be very careful and not to smudge my inked section there. So I really don't want to mess with it too much. Going to use my little tape runner here, and you will have one of these little tape runners in your deluxe kit. And I like to use it on the vellum because it doesn't show. Let's see, I'm going to put this, I think, right there. I think I'm just going to do a little strip of this adhesive because the vellum will crinkle if you put glue on it. So we're just going to do a strip of this, and we will just set that like so. Let's see, we're moving right along here. We do have this little tab here where it says composition book. Okay. This is going to go again right there. So I'm going to apply some glue, but I don't want to go above that line. And I want to make sure we get our edges really good. And so this is just going to sit down like so. Then again, I just want to make sure I'm pushing down, making sure those edges are all glued down. So we have our pocket there. So I'll have to cut this down just a little more because we do not want it to go over that fold. So maybe about 3 1/8 of an inch. I think that works. And we are going to create a pocket. So again, let's see, we'll just stress really quick here. We are going to glue here and across here and right here. I'm going to center it. I want to find this piece here, and so this is going to go like so. And we need this piece here. This is going to be inside a pocket. I have my pieces all ready to go here. And so the first thing that we will need to do is we need to create our pocket with this. So again, we are going to distress those edges. Now the back of this does show, so what I'm thinking is it might be kind of fun to stamp, you know, another fun border or something just to dress it up a little bit. Maybe I could just do the little banner. And again, I haven't even primed the stamp. This is the first time I'm using it. And I get a beautiful impression just from the first use of the stamp, which is pretty amazing. Look how pretty that is. Oh, I love that. Right down along there and there. Now we have this piece. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is I have this piece of ephemera here, and I'm going to take a strip of it and just put it like so. I think I'm going to set that right like that. I am going to cut off. See, we need to go right about there. And we could, I mean, you could create a little pocket just to put, you know, some things in here. I think that would be kind of cute. So I'm going to put, I think this will all get trimmed off. So I'm going to put some glue here, down on the bottom, through here, up through here, and there. We're creating a pocket, so we are going to glue right down the bottom and on the sides. This is going to go right there. Kind of had the top of this lined up with the bottom of that line there. And then we have our little pocket, like so. Alright, so again, we are going to take our piece that we already cut and we are going to make another pocket. And center it, make sure it's below the folded line. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is we are going to connect these three pieces together. So on this piece here, I need to just stress this really quick. Alright, we are going to just apply a little bit of glue right there. That's it. And we are going to attach that section okay, and then this other side here, again just a drop of glue, and we're going to attach it to this side, and we want to make sure, you know, that we're not going over the edge there. So right about there. Drop of glue, hold that in place. So our three pieces are joined. So we're going to do here and here. Okay, and then we are going to do here and here. And then maybe right along there. To center that, we need our shoe to go up just a tad, so maybe like right about there. We trim it first, and then we'll glue down any other areas that still need a little more glue. So I want this to go, I think, in here. We'll have that sit there. And then maybe we could have this go in that pocket there. You can see this comes down through there. So you should have only glued here, and then you went up to that side here, no glue. You do not want any glue there. You only want glue there and on the side so that our journal card goes down through there. I'm going to place another drop of glue and just a drop right there. And that is going to close our pocket between here and here. You know, you could do like that. And then on this side, we do have our big pocket behind here. So you can take and put some of your cards on the back side there. So see, we can put 2 tags right there. And these can, you know, hold some of the larger postcards. Got that large pocket right there. So you could set that postcard inside. And then we can put another one on the back side here. There we go. You can see this is coming right along. Look how nice. Tons of places for tags and lots of places to do journaling. And then we'll have our journal signatures right inside of there. Alright, the last part of what we're going to do for this part of part 2 is we are going to finish this up by adding in our paper bag. Now this I think will be part of the packaging that I will add in the kits, and then I can attach some washi so you will have the washi that matches what I'm using here. What we're going to do is we are just going to fold the bag in half. I just wanted to create a little bit of a notch, but as you can see, it just doesn't want to cut it. So I just kind of let it mark where that, you know, where it should have cut, and I'm just going to use my scissors and cut this out like so. And then I can put the trim like you see here and clean up that notch. And right here, I wanted to get as close to the edge as possible. Alright, so what I want to do is kind of measure it to the width of our bag, and I'm going to just cut the excess there, and then we are going to score right down the middle. I might actually go behind one of these stitches, I'm thinking. Be right there, so at 3/8 of an inch. And then we are going to fold this. This larger piece here. And I'm just going to cut it to the width of our bag. Place it right under the notch, and then I'll just fold that under, and I'll just place that up above, and then I just kind of folded this around that notch. And then I will need to glue it in place, and we'll just bring this around to the back. And I'll do the same on this other side. Just going around where the notch is. And again, we will clean this up with trim, so don't worry about that looking, you know, a little off. We'll bring it to the back. I'm going to overlap this washi. I just want to match it up to the top part of my bag there. And again, you are going to want to glue all of this down, but because I'm running short on time here, the video is starting to get long, I am just going to apply the washi and then I'll go back later and glue it down. I think I'm just going to do a little label there. I can do that. I think I'm just going to do that. And we'll call that good. So I'm going to stick that right there. And I think I will just leave that like that. Okay. Then we can, you know, put our tags and everything on the inside. Alright, so now we need to attach this, and it's going to go right in the middle, right there. So we're going to just glue this part right here for right now. And we're going to put that in the center, just kind of eyeball it, and let that dry. Then we are going to apply some glue to this other section here and attach our envelope. So I'm going to just take and apply some glue right on the bottom here. We'll just spread that glue around. Make sure you get those edges really good. And just kind of press it down. And now we can just kind of have some fun and decorate it up a little bit. I do like this in the front here like that, and I will need to take off. Let's see, where does, yeah. I'm going to have to cut off a little bit of the leaves so I can see right here where that hinges. That's slanted. Just like so. Alright, and now I can attach that on there. I am going to have my trim going over this, I think. But what I might do is just leave this. I might not glue that down because I might put the trim under. I don't know if I want it to go over or under. So I am just going to glue for now this section right here. Just kind of, again, creating a pocket so I can tuck that trim. When I get the trim, I can tuck that in there if I want to. Again, just make sure We are not going on our folded section there. And you could, like I said, you could put something right there. I even kind of like the looks of that. I might just do that. I think that looks pretty. But then again, I might want to put some trim there. I'll do a little, just a little dot of adhesive in the middle. That way, I know I want to put this there, and when I get my trim, I can just pull it, and then I can tuck my trim there. That is where I am going to stop. We've got our full first flap section done. We still have 2 more to do, and then we will have our journal signatures that we'll be working on. So again, there's a lot to this, but when this is done, oh my gosh, I can't even begin to think of how amazing this is going to look. I have not done anything like this before. This is just kind of something that I came up with, and seeing my mom's folio, it just inspired me to create this flap system here. And then I thought, you know what, it would be really neat to include some journal signatures. So this will just give you a little idea. We've completed one of our flap sections. So pretend like this is the second one that we've completed. And just to kind of show you how this will look, so this will end up attaching to this other section, flap section there, and then it will lay in our folio like so. This is just a little idea of how beautiful this is going to look inside once we get everything done. And it's just, look at all the eye candy, and then again this will attach. So I am going to work on the next flap section, and then I will be back. I plan on being back Monday for part 3. And in the meantime, I hope that you are going to have fun and hopefully, you know, join me in making one of these. I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts on what you think of the workshop so far. I hope I'm giving you lots of ideas and inspiration, and that you're learning a lot in these workshops. So again, please let me know what you think. And if you could just take a second to hit the like button if you're loving the video so far. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on these other parts to this workshop. And I would love it if you all could help me get to my 10,000 subscriber goal that I've been trying to reach for I don't even know how many years now. That would be so great. I will catch you back Monday, and thank you so much for watching.